As soon as Boston's done with her phone call, we can let her kick us off the little Devo. Joseph, you missed it. Chris was going to try to start off his service with, "Hey, all you cool cats and kittens."
Man, Justin.
Then he found out that you'd be transferring your membership. So he just said, "Nope, can't do it."
I felt like that was enough of a deterrent, you know?
Fair enough. Yeah. You don't want my prayers, my presence, my gifts, my service. It's not always a positive thing for somebody to witness on your behalf. So
the witness is the downside. The gifts, well, you know, we're a Methodist church. We'll take anybody's gifts.
Jordan did start one of his messages one night on Instagram with, "Hey, all you cool cats and kittens." And I was a little bit like, can we not? I mean, I laughed, but I was like, good Lord, this is not good.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've got an adult in my young adults group who every time we bring it up, she like threatens to leave the call. Like she really, really doesn't want to talk about it anymore. And I just don't understand why.
Sounds like she was an accomplice with Carol Baskins.
Yeah, I think that her and Carol Baskin killed Carol Baskin's husband. I really do.
I bet she's an Enneagram 4.
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I have to ask her.
All
Sorry
right,
about that. My mom called. I'm done now. She has this. My mom is working from home just like everybody else, and she is having to set up some kind of like Skype call, and she was like testing it with me, and I was like, I can't talk with you right now. Like you're gonna have to do this later. So sorry about that. Well, our devotional today, I don't know if I would necessarily call it a devotional as much as a time to uplift y'all. So this upcoming Sunday, I'm going to be preaching, and I'm preaching on the story of when Jesus came to the disciples and Thomas was doubting that it was even Jesus. And something that has been a struggle for me, and I'm sure it's been for all of y'all, is that we're away from our students and we're away from our church, and our churches are empty right now. But something that I realized this week in the midst of the insanity of being away is the tomb is also empty. And praise God that the tomb is empty. So our churches may be empty. We may not be meeting regularly with our students and with our parishioners, and we may not be doing our job the way that we were called to do it. Everything just looks so different now. But even though our churches are empty, the tomb is empty. And so I've been really living into that idea this week, because I have really struggled with the stay-at-home thing, and I have struggled being away from my students, and I have not known how to be a pastor from a computer screen. But as the weeks have gone by, it's gotten a little bit easier. And so the thing that I wanted to share with each of y'all is this thought that no matter where we are, no matter if we're behind a computer screen or if we're standing in a pulpit, the Spirit is still at work. Our ministries are still thriving. God is still good. Jesus still is risen from the dead. And that is something that I have really been trying to remember when I get sad or depressed or have anxiety about what's going on, is that I remember that our God is bigger than this. And so that's something that I wanted to share with each of you, is because we are all in the same ministry of working with young adults and with students. And I want y'all to know that not only is God with you, but we're also in this together. And so I have been so grateful for this time every Tuesday. This is something that I have looked forward to, because it's been spirit renewing and reminding me that there are a whole bunch of us that are doing this kind of ministry together. And so I'm so grateful for the idea of remembering that even though our churches are empty, that God is still at work in and through us, and the tomb is still empty, and that's, and that there is glory to be found in that. So that's just all I wanted to share with y'all this afternoon. So I don't know if I'd call that a devotional, but that's what was on my heart. So I'm done.
Thanks. That was awesome. Thank you. So I didn't want to go too long today. I know a lot of us were just on another Zoom call. So, and I have a 3:00 as well. So I'm just like nonstop Zooming today. We just start with what's been working well, and then the conversation kind of evolves itself from there. Um, I'll kick us off. Something I'm just super excited about, and I have no idea if it's going to work well, but I'm just super excited about it. We, in the midst of all of this, kicked off our leadership council, and so we had a meeting to let them, throw out some ideas of how we could engage students. And this coming weekend was supposed to be our annual retreat, and I had just thrown out this kind of half-baked idea of, well, what if we, have everybody like recreate their retreat space in their house and take a picture, just something to, nod to the fact that we wish we were together this weekend or whatever. And they're like, yeah. But what if we did this? So what if we, everybody makes their retreat space and we get on a Zoom call and we all show it off. And then somebody else says, what if we do this game via Zoom that we always do at the retreat? And it just kind of built. And so we're going to have Friday night basically we're calling it a quarantine camp-in. And we're going to do a Netflix watch party. We're going to play some games on Zoom. And, I'm just super excited that this was completely coming out of handing off ministry to my students. And so I'll be sure to fill you guys in next week on how it goes, but just been pretty excited and encouraged by, the creativity and the work that my students are willing to put in to make it happen. So what else is going well?
We did something kind of cool for Easter. I called it bunny bags because I thought that was cute. Steve called it egging our youth's houses because that's more fun to say. But we just made little bags with like 5 little Easter eggs with some candy in it and a little note from us. And we went around and delivered all of them to all of our youth families. We kind of divided Frisco into 4. We had 2 adult volunteers helping us. And so, we were able to see most of our families, knock on their door, leave them a little treat, ask them how they were doing. And it was super fun and really great I think for them. We got a lot of really great feedback about that. And I know it was great for me to be able to see them and just get out of the house for a little while and drive around. So that was really fun. And, we'll probably do something, depending on how long we're doing this, we'll probably do something like that again, where we just go and like deliver a little something or leave a little note from us, just to let them know that we're thinking about them and to see them face to face, but down the sidewalk from their front porch. So that was really, really fun.
We finally figured out what we're doing for seniors, and that was really encouraging. We did like a senior Zoom meeting and kind of got their thoughts of like, hey, senior recognition, would you want to try virtual? They said absolutely not. They want it to be in person. So it's going to be end of summer, which fingers crossed, everyone. As well as though, like, we asked them, because we didn't want to tell them this, like if we did a senior surprise in May, how would they feel? So some of y'all heard me talk about this 2 weeks ago. I'm aware it's not called a drive-by. Y'all taught me it's the parade. We're not really calling it a parade either, though. We're calling it the senior surprise. And so we're taking our list of active seniors. We're definitely doing them. And then we're posting on like the church's social media so that everyone can get a chance. And that random kid who you haven't seen since confirmations, parents can't get mad, can sign up for senior surprise. And we're going to put like a yard sign that we're getting printed. So they're about $8.50 a sign, in case anyone's thinking of something similar, because we have a local parent who does printing. That'll say like the church loves you, class 2020. We're still working on what it says. And then just tying balloons on of like the color of the college they're going to, and trying to make sure we have a contact number for whatever day we go visit them to like pray with them and their family, maybe 8 feet apart for extra safety. But yeah, that was just encouraging to know that like that can work, as well as like it does I don't know about y'all. Sometimes it's hard to know, like, what I think means a lot to these kids. Does it actually mean a lot to these kids? And so it was encouraging to know, like, no, like, their senior recognition means a lot to them. And they want to be prayed over in person in front of the entire church. They want to hear how the baptismal covenant, the church coming alongside them as infants to now, like, how all that connects. Like, they want that. And so that was encouraging. It's sad that it's moved, but I'm glad that we have a plan for them and they feel known and are going to still feel honored. So, and I'm excited about senior surprise, not drive by.
So I realized that Easter has come and gone, and kind of got into this conversation at staff meeting this morning. But I'm curious if any of you guys are also feeling this kind of, I don't know if you're feeling like relief that we got to Easter and it's over. I don't know how involved you guys, a lot of you guys are with Easter in your churches. And are you feeling that sense of relief? Are you feeling like, oh, now I don't have something to work towards? How are you guys feeling about post-Easter?
I had plenty of responsibilities just in the overall church Holy Week observances. And so I'm grateful to have that behind me. It frees up a lot of my schedule to do more youth work. Talking about something that worked, I didn't do this, but I saw this in the Facebook traffic, but Custer Road challenged its youth to a lip sync battle by video. And the youth staff did a video just to start things off. And I've seen at least 3 cases or siblings, and they posted lip sync videos to Custer Road's page as well. So there's some back and forth going with them too.
Chatty group today.
Oh, we're all playing that game where you look at the little microphones in the corner to see who's going to talk next. I think the challenge, I really like Easter always. And then kind of after Easter up until the point of May, at least in youth ministry for me for the last 15 years, this is the dead zone in youth ministry, right? This is where they have so many activities that I tend to not add in on activities because they're doing the last of everything, right? It's the last band banquet and it's the last theater thing and it's all the last ofs. And so like it's always very challenging in youth ministry just to find the time for kids to gather because your numbers drop a little bit. So it's like the time after Easter where usually I'm preparing for my numbers to go down, except they don't have any last to do. And then we've also now, we're a month into this thing where we have all of our weekly programming established. And I'm not really trying to start anything new. I don't have anything I'm not trying to figure out technology. And so now I've reached that like really boring phase where you're like, okay, well, here's the monotony of the day to day. And I know how all this works. There's not really any surprises. And I think the worst part of it all is like, I don't have anything else on the calendar right now. At least Easter was something different. But there's nothing else on the calendar. Like I have my summer trips, but like, who knows what's going to happen and all of that stuff. That's even further down the line. So I think for me, the challenge is like, we're in the monotony now of kind of the day to day. And how do you still find some kind of excitement in the midst of that piece of it?
Good word. Joel, you posted this video that still I'm obsessed with, I think on Facebook, where the ESPN anchors were trying to see who the most famous person they could get into their Zoom call was. And so my mind has just been obsessing over this concept. And maybe it's not famous, but then I've kind of co-bred that concept with on campus, Gerald Turner is just popping into Zoom courses just randomly, like the president of the university is just showing up in your Zoom class. so I wondered what it would look like to build community partnerships, to like have a teacher from their school that they love, or, you know what I mean, somebody that's not normally. So, you know, when you're talking about excitement, like what would it mean to for a random person to show up in your Zoom meeting? And especially if that's a community partner of somebody they're excited about that's not typically in that atmosphere. Maybe it's your pastor, but but I love that you posted that. I don't know if you were like thinking about how to do that. Maybe it's not about fame, but I think that's hilarious. I laughed so hard. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, good one, Paul. Yeah, but I wonder if because I think that's a good word. You're in this monotony now, and so what are some little things you can sprinkle in? Yeah, I don't know. I think that concept was brilliant, though. Thanks for posting that. I got a lot of joy out of that at 2 a.m. the other night.
Yeah, if y'all haven't seen it, it is. I don't know what it is about it, but it is, like Bart said, it is just so entertaining. I was talking to one of my small group leaders. I was like, they need to make this into a series, somehow to way to make like real points out of it, make it to a game show, because it is just hilarious. It's on my Facebook if anybody wants to go have a good watch after this.
I really love this idea. Paul, do you think the bishop would pop in if we invited him?
My thoughts, it depends on how it's set up and done. I don't think the bishop likes being surprised or made a spectacle. So if there's along as some respect, I know Emma and Joseph probably could weigh in better on some of these things. But you never know. I think it'd be better if there was something where it was a conference-wide kind of thing. It'd be probably easier to get him to do that. But I don't know. It can't hurt to ask. All he can say is no.
Well, and like worship leaders and contemporary Christian artists. I mean, John Foreman has been popping in on people's Zoom calls, so just because they're stuck at home bored too. Like, I think that I mean, I think you could. I don't think if you really wanted to plan something like that, I mean, you could do something local. But I don't like. What's it gonna hurt to reach out to, you know, Lecrae or John Foreman? Go, hey, would you pop in on our Zoom call? I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I did have the idea. The mother-in-law of one of the Dude Perfect guys is a member of our church, so if I could pull that, I would be a hero, I think.
They just had a new baby though, so you gotta be careful with that.
Oh, that's right, Chrissy. You know that family. That's right.
Y'all think I can get George Bush?
That would be incredible.
Some of the trouble probably would be what one would think is cool versus what I like. I've given up trying to compete with what is popular culture just because, one, I'm bad at paying attention to it. But, you know, you could bring this great Christian artist and everyone's like, who is this person? Like, what?
Yeah,
You know,
my
Lecrae?
students would be like, who's Lecrae?
Yeah, I love Lecrae, but yeah. Well, for me, riding through Easter was kind of what I was working on originally because it felt like what the path of this was at least going to. So now moving to where the summer is more unknown. Even today, I was calling to canceling, reservations for things. That has just been the edge of what's good and bad. And also, I guess, opposed to some folks, I didn't try to lay out a whole lot at the start. I just kind of kept some small things just to kind of walk into this. But now I'm in a space where like, okay, I need something else. So trying to figure out what that something else is and what's a faithful articulation for my community and my group. That's good. So let's see, I've enjoyed kind of bouncing off ideas off this group and actually looking to steal a couple probably for those expressions. So we'll see how that goes.
I did with kids, but I'm sure that it would be fine with youth too. It's like the escape room that we did at Midwinter, which is printable. So I just sent the file to the kids and had them do it like a race, basically, to get back to whoever can finish it first. And it was, I think, not sitting in front of a screen for a little bit, but having an activity to do. At least the parents were appreciative that there was a structured thing, and it was pretty easy. You just have to figure out how to save the PDF and get them what they need. But it's not too difficult if you're just looking for an activity.
Can I ask a question about those who have used, is it called Jackbox? So we played, Adam, I guess David and Adam have been visiting, and we played that in staff meeting this morning, like after we were done with all of our business. And there were a couple games where like one of the questions was something about like pet testicles. Are they clean for the most part, or have you found issues with some being inappropriate for those who play it? Because I really want to play with my kids until that question came up, and then I was like, I don't know about that now.
There's a setting in there that like a family friendly version. Like if you go in the options when you're going into the games, either if you do it on your computer or if you're doing it on I haven't done it on the game console, but I know on Steam you can turn to a family friendly option. And yeah. And the House Party app too also has some kind of like risque things in there if you're doing like finish the lyric like that. So definitely test these things out with people beforehand to know what to stay away from.
Well,
unless you're in an awkward situation.
Anything with the open-ended, depending on your students and what they will put out there, you only have control on so much. But I've played those Jackbox games, though. I'm actually contemplating doing that, but trying to figure out the best medium and form. And I think I am doing it with senior high instead of with junior high.
Yeah, and I don't think my kids would be inappropriate. That's not the thing. Like, I have really respectable kids. I mean, I'm really blessed with the kids that I have in my ministry. So I'm not worried about that. I was worried necessarily about the content that Jackbox is giving you, because that was a question being asked. And we were playing with just adults, so it was fine and it was funny. But I would have not been okay with that kind of question with my teenagers.
So I also discovered, yes, there is a family friendly setting, but I also discovered it depends on the game, though. Some of them have them, some of them don't. They have a setting in most of the games, though, where whoever your VIP is, that first login, is able to censor their answers. But again, you, like Paul said, you can only do so much. But that's another way to kind of help out there.
Yeah, and the Jackbox games especially is really only good for small groups. So, I mean, if you're trying to play with, it's really 7, because if you're trying to play with them, right, if you're trying to play with more than 7, then there are other online options out there that are probably better for kind of a larger group setting. But it's great if you've got small groups, but if you're trying to do anything with a larger group, you definitely want a different kind of game.
Yeah, it's too small for my normal Sunday night group, but we have broken up and we're doing a separate devotional on Thursday and Friday for different age groups. And that's why I was thinking like Jackbox could be what we start the devotional with, to start with some game time with those smaller intimate groups. I just wanted to make sure that before I go and purchase something that I'm going to get something clean that I can actually use. Thanks for the help.
I've lost internet for a minute. Can I bring up a different question? Has anybody done anything with YouthWorks for a summer mission?
We have. They're okay. We're not huge fans. It's probably fine for middle schoolers. I think it's a little too structured for high schoolers, at least our high schoolers. But the convenience of having someone kind of plan your whole week and run it for you and set up the work sites and all that kind of stuff is really nice. So we've used it. We don't love it, but it's not, terrible either.
Yeah. They set up a week in July with YouthWorks before I started. So I've inherited this YouthWorks trip, and now they're saying we were we paid a deposit and then another payment as well, and we were deregistered, and that week that we had reserved was thrown open for anybody to register for, and they don't want to give us our deposit back. So I'm not going to let that go without a fight, and I'm not going to let that go without telling other people the situation we're in, so that you can act accordingly. So yeah, I didn't know if anybody had a fight with YouthWorks like the one we're fixing to have, or what.
David, I have not worked with them before, but I had not exactly the same situation, but something very similar with Team Effort. I had planned a mission trip, booked it. Luckily, I had not paid the deposit yet because it wasn't due yet. But then all of a sudden, they just decided to pull the location and like out from under me, and I was like, I've already booked with y'all. Like, so I tell everybody not to use Team Effort because of the situation that I had with them too. And they have not been great to work with. Every other year that we've gone, they've been, last year was probably the best experience. Other than that, I have not been happy with them. But I kind of inherited it too when I got to the colony. And I'm not ever using them ever again. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, Army has been really open with us, and it's like, we're not sure at this point, which is an acceptable answer if you're not sure. And we're going to check back with them and make sure, because we've got our high schoolers going with Army and our middle schoolers with YouthWorks. So far so good with Army. I mean, they're going to have to make changes. It's just nobody at this point is sure what they are.
Speaking of mission trips and summer stuff, we just we're kind of forced to make a new plan because ASP canceled their summer. So we're calling it Mission Week. We're doing stuff more local. We'll meet if we can. If we can't, we'll set up like no contact missions. But if anyone has any contacts with missions or organizations in the North Texas area, especially like Frisco, Plano, McKinney, if you could send those my way, that'd be awesome, because we're just trying to collect options and service locations right now so that we can still do something this summer, even though we can't go as far as we were wanting to. But if anyone has resources or stuff, I'd appreciate those.
Would you be willing to go to Dallas and work with like Wesley Rankin and?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, because I know that they could always use help in the summer. That's what I've been thinking as a backup plan. We haven't called our summer mission trip yet, but that's kind of been my backup plan, is to work with some of those locations here in the area too.
So I had a feeling that like eventually these meetings would hit like a really like critical mass of where like, oh man, the conversations are just like, they won't be as long. But I think that's still cool. I don't want to force us to sit here in silence for any long. So let's somebody wants to jump in. I know I have other meetings to go to. I know that a lot of us have been on Zoom for many hours already today. So I do think for me, it's still good to just vent and talk and see your faces once a week. So I plan to keep on trucking with this. But yeah, anybody else want to jump in? Go for it, David.
Joseph, I want to put you on the spot, but you had mentioned this week that you would be making a decision about Bridgeport camps. I'm not asking you to do anything early, but I just wondered, are you still on that timetable that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, we're still on that timetable. We've set April 17th as the date to put that out to everybody, so the end of the week. So we're having conversations with everyone and sort of formulating what that's going to look like. So we'll have some information at the end of the week. And then on Tuesday at 1 for our Center for Leadership Development Zoom call, we'll be going over some general like summer camp curriculum stuff that we've been working on. And then Katie Pryor is also going to be on. She's the executive director of Go Camp. So she's going to be talking about some of the essential things that she looks for when she's putting together her, Go Camp experience. So we'll be doing that at 1:00 next Tuesday. And so we'll have a little bit more to talk about camps and stuff then too as well. And we'll take any questions and stuff then. So we're looking for that.
Joseph's beard will be completely gray by next Tuesday. So I imagine I know how hard it was to announce that we had to cancel our mission trip. So I imagine doing something on the conference level is mighty stressful as well. So, cool. Well, it was good to see all you guys. We'll see you next week.
Wait, don't I get to volunteer somebody?
Oh, yes. Good call.
Oh, yeah. Also, I realized that I didn't pray. So before we go, I'd love to pray over y'all. But I volunteered David to go next week. Will y'all join me in prayer? Loving God, as we prepare our hearts to leave this space and to enter into whatever is next for each of us, God, I ask that you be with these amazing youth pastors as they go out and do the work that, God, you have called them to do. Be with each of us. May your spirit reside in us. May you speak through us. And may you be alive in us. God, we are all having a hard time, and we know that you are in the midst of this time with us. So, God, continue to be present with us and in the lives of our students and in the lives of this ministry, God, that you have called us to. What a blessing it is to serve you, God, and to serve your people. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, guys.
Y'all have a good one.